previously at the Matsunoki Cafe. And also Undead Unluck, maybe. I haven't read that one yet. Let me know in the comments if I should catch up on that one next. So I caught up to Undead Unluck in January of this year, just in time to read the finale the day it came out with the rest of the community. And I have some thoughts, but I'm going to keep this a spoiler-free recommendation type of video. To give a bit of history, I actually did read the first few chapters of Undead Unluck when they came out back in 2020, but then happened to drop off for reasons I don't remember. But after seeing some out-of-context live tweets from my friend Josh as he was reading the series, speaking of which, hi Josh, if you're watching this, I decided to take the plunge myself. After spending some time formulating my thoughts over the entire series, I can confidently say, this is my second favorite manga of all time, right behind Tokyo Ghoul. Yeah, a manga I read a couple months ago is that high up on my list. But I swear, it's not just recency bias. I genuinely love this series to bits. And with the manga now wrapped up, I wanted to make this video on Undead Unluck to hopefully get more people into this work of art. Okay, so what's Undead Unluck about? Well, to put it as simply as I can, it's a story about people cursed with powers trying to fight against the god who forced those powers onto them. We follow unlucky Fuko and Andy the Undead, negators of luck and death respectively. Negators are basically superpowered individuals who negate the natural rules of the world. At the end of the first arc, Andy and Fuko join the Union, a team of negators who perform duties in order to keep the world safe and eventually prepare for the looming threat of Ragnarok. Yes, I did say this was a non-spoiler video. You'll learn this stuff as soon as chapter 9. If you think this is crazy, you will not be ready for the big plot reveals later in this series, I can guarantee you. If there's one thing Undead Unluck nailed from the very beginning, it's the pacing. I'll touch on it later, but suffice to say, there's no fat in this story. It's a trimmed down and streamlined read, but one that feels full of life and detail. UU is able to maintain a great momentum for its story beats throughout its entire 5-year run, which is extremely impressive. In other shonen I've read that went on for as long as UU did, if not longer, there were chapters I found boring, but not here. Every chapter was fun and exciting to go through, though that may have been partially because the UU fanbase is very welcoming. I have no doubt a portion of my high fondness for this manga stems from my interactions with the community. Another thing Undead Unluck got right from the get-go was its power system. The negation abilities in this manga are pretty unique due to their strange effects and conditions. Most of these powers would absolutely suck to have, but they sure create some hype as hell fights. It reminds me a bit of JoJo's, in that very rarely does brute strength or the sheer force of an ability determine the outcome of a fight. It's instead the smarter utilizations of one's ability and the way people's different powers play off of each other. And not only are the fights creative in terms of how powers are used, but the art makes every big turning point and finishing blow feel impactful. The art across the board is stellar, for sure. Undead Unluck's art starts good and keeps getting better as it goes on. You will be stunned by the amount of double-page spreads throughout this series. One chapter has like 5 of them back to back, it's crazy. It didn't take long for me to get fully invested in this manga's story. By the end of the Unrepair arc, which, mind you, spans from chapters 20 to 30, I was totally hooked on this universe and cast of characters. And it only got better from there with every arc afterward. The only arc of the series that is only decent and not amazing is the intro arc, and I feel that's what led to the popularity of the series not being as big as it deserves to be. Now, let me be clear, the first chapter is not bad. Far from it. It's just that certain elements don't really do the best job of setting up what the series will be. The first set of chapters are decent. Fuko is instantly likable, the powers even early on are interesting and led to creative scenarios for battles, and as I mentioned earlier, the art even this early on is really good. The only issue I have with the first chapter is Andy. Now, before any UU fans get their pitchforks out, I want to state up front that Andy is my favorite character. So I'm not saying this because I dislike Andy. I'm saying this because I love him. Andy is not done any favors during the first chapter, mainly in how physical he gets with Fuko. There is a sweet moment where he cuts her hair, but that's about it. Now, I totally get that almost every shonen starts off really horny, and then the fan service becomes less frequent as it goes on, unless it's written by Okubo. So I could see the comedy between Anfu early on being solely meant to entice people, so you wouldn't get immediately axed. I totally understand the rationale behind this decision, I just think it came at the cost of setting a bad first impression for our male lead. It kind of reminds me of Leanne from Somniaphile's Nirvana Initiative, if any of you have played that game. A character who did eventually grow on me and is involved with an admittedly touching romance. But their introduction and the start of that romance could have been better. Thankfully, I became fond of Andy a lot sooner than I did with Leanne, mainly because Tozuka was quick to course correct on the dynamic. By the second chapter, it's established that Andy actually has to be someone Fuko likes to get the unluck that could possibly kill him. From then on, Andy starts to actually respect Fuko's boundaries, and it's not long until the two develop a cute dynamic of genuine feelings for one another. Despite how much suffering their abilities have caused them, those same powers were what made them the exact person each other needed. Andy's usage of his undead ability is so damn cool. It's probably the most creative usage of a negation ability seen in the series, just from how diverse his repertoire of moves gets. But his ability is as much a source of suffering as it is for any other negator. His little moment with Gina at the end of their battle is what made me turn around and really enjoy Andy's character. Then the flashback portion of the autumn arc was what truly sold me on his romance with Fuko. It may have had a rocky start in my opinion, but these two are up there with Momo and Okarun as one of the best shonen romances I've read. They're not even the only romantic pairing in this manga either. There's a lot of them and they're all really good. If there's one thing Tozuka excels in more than anything else, it's writing compelling characters and character dynamics. And as someone whose whole YouTube channel mainly revolves around analyzing characters, this is my fucking jam, bro. There isn't a single character in this whole manga I dislike, which is such a massive feat for a shonen series, let me tell you. The cast of Yu Yu is small compared to other shonen, but every named character is fun and charming. Negation abilities always accompany tragedy, but the negator's tragic backstories aren't the only interesting things about them. And the best part is that there's no bloat to any part of this series. Undead Unluck is the pinnacle of a character-driven story. Every decision made is totally in character, and there's not a single chapter where progress isn't made. And while I could go on and on about why I love so many characters, I want to keep this video short and spoiler free, but I did talk about Andy earlier, so it would be unfair of me, fans will understand how funny that pun was, to not talk about Fuko. Fuko is the best female protagonist in Jump. The competition isn't even close. The girl who started out with massive self-loathing and depression broke out of her shell and became a confident, highly skilled leader. Her kind heart is her strongest weapon, as she's unwavering in her determination to save people from tragedy. It's also cute how she takes after Andy in ways as she becomes a stronger person. His catchphrase becomes their shared catchphrase. It's adorable. This more capable Fuko is very much earned after everything she goes through during the first half. On the topic of Fuko and her development, the female cast of Yu Yu as a whole is super good. They're cute, they're compelling, and have depth to their personalities. They're just as awesome and skilled with their powers as the dudes. I genuinely thought Yu Yu was written by a woman at first, but no. Tozuka proves that a male author can consistently make well-written female characters if they try. You hear that, Kishimoto? Okay, now that I have the Naruto fans after my head for that joke, I think it's time to wrap up the video. In conclusion, Undead Unluck is sick. Wicked sick. I highly recommend it. The series itself is amazing, and the community is very welcoming. There is an anime, but it only covers the first 5 arcs. The animation is great, as you'd expect from David Pro. The first OP is absolutely incredible in terms of visuals, and the song, Queen Bee kills it as always. You owe it to yourself to at least give this wonderful series a shot. That's all for me. Thank you for watching this video. I typically make analysis content on specific characters, so if you'd like to see me analyze Yu Yu characters in the future, be sure to like and subscribe, and possibly leave a comment suggesting what characters I should cover. It was a pleasure to have you come by the Matsunoki Cafe today. Until we meet again, take care.